Okay, welcome back to the VDC space. Today is going to be an interesting episode. We're going to be doing a bridge model, a railway bridge model in Revit. We're going to start with a construction template and basically the same workflow we did for the other bridges. We're going to set up our grids, our levels, and then generate our families, and then along the way we're going to generate our schedule, and then we're going to assemble everything as we go along. Now, before I get started, I would like to ask you guys to please like, subscribe, and share, as I upload BIM modeling tutorials and Revit tutorials 3 times every week. I cover different topics from wastewater, bridges, roads and networks, buildings, and so on. Now, without further ado, let's jump into Revit. So here we are in Revit 2024. So I open up the construction template. So the first thing is I'm just going to go to the south elevation. And then I'm just going to rename my levels. So this one, I'm just going to name it 00 and substructure. Then enter. And then this one, I'm going to name it 01 dash and then superstructure. Then enter. So, and then let me just select this. So I'm just going to change the annotations of this. So I'm just going to drop down and then I'm going to change these to triangle head project. Yes, project datum. And also this one, I'm going to change it to triangle head project datum. And then I'm just going to leave it like that. So I'm going to go back to the substructure. So in the substructure, I'm just going to extend the views and I'm going to offset them by 20,000 on each side. And also this side, I'm just going to offset them by 20,000. And also this side, I'm just going to offset them by 20,000. And then I'm just going to extend their views so that we can view the entire project when we model within these constraints. So I'm going to select these views and then extend their views, their view range. So we're going to set up our grid. So you're going to go to architecture and say grid, and then you're going to place your first grid, and then you're going to say pick lines to offset them. So the first offset, we're going to set it to 6,000 millimeters. And then the second one, we're going to set it to 12,000 millimeters. And then the third one is going to be at 12,000, and then the fourth one is also going to be at 12,000, and then the last one is going to be set at 6,000 millimeters. And then you're just going to center everything right there. And I'm just going to rename these grids. So this one, I'm going to name it abutment 01, press enter. And then this one, we're going to name it pier 01, and then enter. And then this one, we're going to name it pier 02, and then enter. And then this one, we're going to name it pier 03, enter. And then this one is going to be abutment 02, and then enter. And then you're going to say grid again, and then you're going to place a grid that's running across like this. So you're going to check both sides. So this one, we're going to rename it to CL for center line. And this is where our bridge center line is going to be based. So now that we set up our grids and levels, so I think the last thing is when it comes to levels is I'm just going to set this superstructure level to 6,000 millimeters, and then right click on it and maximize 3D extend. And also this one, I'm going to select it and then right click and say maximize 3D extend. And then I'm just going to extend these grids like this, go back to the substructure. So the second thing we're going to do is we're going to generate our bases for our piers. So in order for us to do that, we're just going to go to insert and say load family, metric library, and then we're going to go to structural foundations. And then let me just change this to large icons. So we're going to go with rectangular footings. And actually, let's just go with pad. Yes, we can go with the rectangular footings and say open. and then you're just gonna go to structure and then go to isolated. Under foundation, you're gonna go to isolated. So as you can see, we cannot see everything. We cannot see our elements. So before we place our families, you just gonna type in VR on your keyboard for view range, and then you're gonna set your bottom to minus perhaps 5000, and also the V depth to minus 5000. Press apply and then OK, and then you're gonna select your foundation, and then you're just gonna place it like this. And also on this side, actually where the grids intersect, you're just gonna place all of them, and then you're gonna adjust your parameters. And now let's start with the one for abutment one. So you're gonna select it and say edit type, and then you're gonna say duplicate, and then you're gonna rename this one abutment base, and then you're gonna say OK. And now for the thickness, you're gonna set it to 1000 millimeters. And then for the width you're gonna set it to 14,000 millimeters. And then the length you're gonna set it to 5,000 millimeters. And then you're gonna say apply and then OK. And then you're just gonna press tab on your keyboard just to change its orientation, and then you're going to select this one for the abutment 2, and then you're going to set it to abutment base, change its orientation like this. And now the next one is for the piers. You're going to select it. Actually, you can just say control select the three of them and say edit type, duplicate, and then you're going to say pier base, and then you're gonna say OK. So for the thickness, it's gonna be 1000. For the width, you're gonna set it to 9000 millimeters, and then for the length, it's gonna be 3000 millimeters. Apply and then OK, and then you're just gonna press keyboard space bar on your keyboard just to change its orientation. Perfect. Now go to the south elevation. So the south elevation, this is how everything is set. Of course, the basis for our abutments are gonna be depending on where the position of our abutment is gonna be based. So the abutment is gonna depend on the position of our precast deck that we're gonna place on the superstructure. So this is a work in progress. Now you're gonna go back to the substructure. Now the next thing we're gonna generate is our PS, of course. So for our PS, you're gonna go to file and say new and then family. And then for our PS, we're gonna keep it simple. We are not going to use the structural column family template because it gets tricky when it comes to constraints. So we're gonna use metric generic model and say open. So here we are on the metric generic model. So the first thing is we're gonna have to set up our our reference planes for our pier. So we're gonna go to the front elevation. So on the front elevation, you can set up your reference planes. So I'm gonna place one on each side like this, and then I'm gonna offset this one by, let me just remove this. So I'm gonna offset this one by 4000 millimeters, and also this one 4000 millimeters from the side. And then I'm gonna say create again and say reference plane, and then I'm gonna place another one horizontally like this. So this one from the reference level, I'm gonna offset it by 5400 millimeters. So it's gonna be 5400 millimeters, and then I'm just gonna attach these reference planes like this. And then I'm gonna select this one, and then I'm gonna say copy, and then I'm gonna copy another one by 400 millimeters, and then another one by 200 millimeters. So it's gonna be set like this. So I'm gonna say create again and say reference plane, and then I'm gonna place other ones like this. Just make sure they extend beyond these horizontal reference planes. So these ones from the middle reference plane, I'm gonna offset them by, so it's gonna be 4200 millimeters, and then this one also is gonna be 4200 millimeters. Perfect. Now The next thing is, let me just adjust this one and also this one like this. So the next thing is we're gonna have to generate our geometry. So in order for us to do that, we're gonna go to create and say extrusion first. So I think let's just go to the reference level. So you're gonna say create and say extrusion, and then you're going to place your rectangle like this randomly. So from this metal reference plane, you're going to offset one side by 300 millimeters, and then also, so the total width is going to be 600 millimeters. And say finish, edit mode, go to the front elevation, and then you're going to drag it upwards towards this point, and it's going to be set like this. So the one thing I forgot to do is go to the reference level, select your extrusion and say edit extrusion. So we're going to add 25 millimeter chamfers on all the corners. So it's going to be 25, and then place it like this. So I'm going to select it, and then I'm going to copy it towards the other corners. Control select, mirror pickaxes, and then they're going to be copied to the other side. So I'm going to say trim and extend, trim and extend, trim and extend, trim and extend, and also this one, trim and extend, trim and extend, trim and extend, trim and extend. Say finish edit mode, go to the front elevation, and then it's going to be set like this. Now the next thing is we're going to have to generate our sort of like a pier head. So in order for us to do that, let me just extend this metal reference plane and then lock it again. So in order for us to do that, we're going to use a swept blend because it's going to consist of two different profiles. So I'm going to go to swept blend and then say sketch path, and then from this insertion point I'm going to take it upwards by 400 millimeters. Press escape, say finish edit mode, go to select profile 1, edit profile, and then it's going to take me to the reference level or our floor plan, and then I'm going to say pick lines, and then I'm just going to pick these lines. So I'm going to use the first extrusion that we generated as our reference, and then I'm just going to place it like this. Press escape, say finish edit mode, and then select profile 2 and say edit profile, and then I'm gonna say pick lines again, and then I'm gonna pick my lines like this, but this time I'm gonna extend it. So I'm gonna select these ones and then say move. So I'm just gonna move it towards this reference plane, and also select these three, or actually these four, including a chamfers, and then I'm gonna move it by 200 millimeters to the left and also to the right. So let me just show you what it does. When I go to the 3D view, I'm gonna say finish edit mode, and this is what it basically does. So I'm gonna go back to the reference level again, and then I'm gonna set up my view range VR, and then for my cut plane I'm gonna set it to 5,000, and also the top I'm gonna set it to 5,000 just to see everything. I still cannot see it, so I'm gonna change it to, let's say, 8,000 and also 8,000, and then we're gonna use this as our reference. Let me just set this to hidden line. So I'm gonna say create and say extrusion again and say pick lines, and then I'm just gonna pick these lines. Then I'm just gonna say pick these lines, and then I'm gonna say finish edit mode, go to the front elevation, and then I'm gonna drag it to the top towards this reference plane, and also I'm gonna drag this extrusion towards this reference plane, and there you go. This is basically our pier head. So if I change the level of detail to fine and then this to realistic, I'm gonna select all my extrusion, set my material to concrete. So I'm just gonna drop down, and then I'm gonna choose concrete cast in situ and say apply, and then okay. So this is basically what we have. And now for our piers, obviously we're gonna have to have bearings on top of our piers. So what I want to do is I want to create a nested family between piers and our bearings. So, and use shared parameters so that they can be separated when it comes to our quantities. So in order for us to do that, so I'm just gonna go to You can just save this pier. So I actually want to, let's see what we have here. Let's just select this part of your peer head and then go to edit peers and then go to select the profile 2. So, and then you're going to say edit profile first, go to the reference level, and we're actually going to extend the width of this peer head on each side. So go to create and say reference plane, and then place 2 of them horizontally like this on each side. So we're going to offset them from the middle by 750, and also this one by 750. And then you're going to say, and then you're going to select these lines of your peer head, and then you're going to drag it towards this point, and then you're going to select these ones, and then you're going to drag it towards this point, so that when you go to a 3D view, this is basically how it should look. Yes. So I'm going to drag this extrusion towards this point, and then I'm going to adjust it like this by using this part of up here as our reference. So I'm going to drag this one towards this point, and then this one towards this point, and then this one I'm going to drag it like this, and then this one like perfect. So this is the way it's supposed to look actually. Sorry about that. So okay, the next thing is, it's obviously we're gonna have to generate our bearings. So our bearings are gonna be simple. It's gonna consist of our concrete epoxy and our elastomer. So let me just check our shared parameters on our pier. So you're gonna go to file, new, and say family, and then you're gonna go to metric generic model and say open. So for our bearings, you're gonna go to the front elevation and then set up your reference planes like this. So I think you're gonna set up 2 of them, and the first one you're gonna offset it from the reference level by 100 millimeters, and then this one you're gonna offset it from the first one by 60 millimeters. Yeah, I think that's all right. So you're gonna go back to the reference level, basically your floor plan, and say extrusion, and then you're gonna place a random rectangle like this, and then you're gonna have to adjust it on all the sides. From this side, you're gonna make it 400 millimeters, and so in total, actually you're gonna make it 200. Sorry, you're gonna make it 200. So in total, it's gonna be 400 millimeters. And also from this side, you're gonna make it 200 millimeters. So in total it's gonna be 400. Actually we can make it 150 on each side. So it's gonna be 150. So, and also the side is gonna be 150. So it's gonna be 150 by 200 millimeters. So you're gonna say finish edit mode, go to the front elevation, and then you're gonna drag your extrusion towards this point. And now so you're gonna select your extrusion, apply the material to this. So you can just type in concrete and then drop down, and then you can say concrete cast in situ and say okay. And then let me just change the level of detail to find this to realistic. So for your concrete, actually our elastomer is going to be very much I think I made a mistake. So for your epoxy, let me just remove this. So for your epoxy, it's going to be a different shape. So we're going to have to use a swept blend for that. Sorry about that. So you're going to say sketch path, and then from this point you're going to place it like this. Say finish edit mode, select profile 1, edit profile, go to the reference plane, and then you can just place your rectangle like this. So from this point you're gonna offset it by 350 millimeters, and then in total is gonna be 700 millimeters. And then from this side you can make it 200 millimeters. So in total it's gonna be 400 millimeters. And then you're gonna say finish edit mode, and then you're gonna say profile 2, edit profile, and then you're gonna place a random rectangle like this, and then you're gonna adjust it. So from each side you're gonna make it 200 millimeters. So in total the width is gonna be 400 millimeters. And then this one you can make it 150, and then in total it's gonna be 300 millimeters. So you're gonna say finish edit mode, go to the front elevation, and this is the way it's supposed to look. So you can apply the concrete when it comes to this one, and then you can go to the reference level, say create extrusion, place your rectangle like this, and then you can say finish edit mode for your elastomer, go to the front elevation and then adjust its thickness, and then you're just gonna place it like this. Select your extrusion, and then go to your material, and then you can type in rubber. So you can just apply this one rubber black and say apply, and then okay, and then open up the 3D view. This is basically your elastomeric bearing. So we have our concrete epoxy and our elastomer. So remember, you're gonna have to check your shared parameters, and let's just save this. So you can just say load into project. So you're gonna load it into your family, and then obviously yes, you're gonna save this. So let's just open up a new folder and say the VDC space railway bridge. So you're gonna open up this, and then you can just name this elastomeric bearing, and then say save. Now it's loaded into your peer family. Now before we place them onto our peer family, we're gonna have to sort out the spacing and all those parameters. So you can select this reference plane that you generated. So remember, we're in the reference level or the floor plan, and then you can type in AR, or you can just go to array, or you can type in AR on your keyboard, and then you're gonna set your number to 10. Make sure your constraints are set to last, and then you're gonna select this reference plane, and then select this middle reference plane, and then you're gonna press enter, and then you're gonna select these ones and then mirror them towards the other side like this. So this is how it's gonna be set up. So just extend this middle reference plane like this, and then lock it again, and then we're gonna place other ones. Go to create reference plane, and then you're gonna place two random ones like this, and this one you're gonna offset it from the outer part of your pier by let's just make it 450, and then also this side you're gonna make it 450. And let's just go to create and say component, and then we're just gonna place our bearings like this, and then go to the front elevation. Of course, you're gonna have to offset them, select them, say move, and then you're gonna move them towards the top like this. Open up the 3D view, and this is basically how it's supposed to look. So you're gonna go to the reference level, select them, and then you're gonna say copy, and then you're gonna copy them and then skip one reference plane and then copy them to the other ones. So it's gonna be set like this. So this is basically what we have. So this is how it's supposed to be set up. So actually we are done with our peers. So I'm just going to load it into our project. I'm going to save this. So this one is going to be our peers, and then say save. So it's going to be loaded into our project. And now I'm just going to change its orientation and place it right on top of our peer bases, and then they're going to be set up like this. So this is basically what we have. So just make sure your peers are set under substructure when it comes to your levels. Forgot to place it on this one also, so it's going to be set like this. So open up the 3D view, and this is what we have now. Before we go any further, let's generate our schedule. You're going to select your schedule, right click, go to new material takeoff, multi-category material takeoff, and say OK. And then you're going to load in your category, and then you're going to load in your type, and then you're going to load in your family, and then your levels, and then you're going to load in your material area, and then your material volume, and then you're going to go with count. And then you're going to go to filter. We're not going to do anything. Sorting and grouping, we're going to sort it by category, and then by type, and then by family. And then you're going to say grand totals, title, count, and totals. Itemize every instance, and then you're going to add your blank lines. Make sure it's ascending, and then you're going to add your footings, your footer, and then go to formatting. Under formatting, you're going to change your material area, and then you're going to set it to total, and then your volumes you're going to set it to total also. And just go to conditional format, actually your field format, and then uncheck this, use the project settings. So you're going to set your unit symbol to none and say OK. And then also for the area, you're going to go to field format, uncheck this, and then set this to none and say OK. And then your count, you're going to add your totals for count, because the bearings are measured in like in quantities, so in like the number of bearings that you have. So the appearance, I think it's fine, so you're gonna say okay. So this is basically your schedule so far. It managed to separate your peers and also your elastomeric bearing on, although it's a nested family. It's because we checked the shared parameter option. That's why it's separated when it comes to your schedule. So I'm just going to close it down. So this is the progress so far. Now the next thing is we're going to have to generate our abutment. So for our abutment, we're going to go to superstructure, and we're going to go to file and say new and say family. So for our abutment, we're going to use metric generic model and say open. So this is what we have, our reference level. And now for our abutment, we're gonna set up our parameters. So you're gonna go to the left elevation. So on our left elevation, you're gonna select your reference plane, and then you're gonna set it like this on this side, and then you're gonna place another one on top like this. So this one we're gonna offset it by 1500 millimeters, and then this one we're gonna offset it by from this one by 1767 millimeters. So I'm just gonna extend this, lock it again, and this is what we have. So I'm gonna say create again reference plane, and then place another one on this side, and then this one I'm gonna offset it by, so I think we can make it 300 millimeters, and then we're gonna, so I'm gonna say create again reference plane, and then this one I'm gonna place another one this side like this, and then select this one and then offset this one by 500 millimeters. Perfect. And so in total, the height of our abutment is basically going to be 3267 millimeters. So we're going to start with our divider wall, say extrusion on the left elevation, and then you're going to draw your divider wall like this. Then you're going to place it like that and say finish edit mode, go to the reference level. So for the length of our abutment, let's see. So I think for the length, if I'm not mistaken, let me just open up my project. Let me just go to superstructure and see. Let me just copy this. So the total width is gonna be, so it's gonna be 13,000. Well, it's gonna be 13,000. Okay, that's perfect. So let me just close this down. No. So on the reference level, I'm gonna set up my two reference planes on each side, and I'm gonna offset them by, so it's gonna be 13,000 divided by 2, so it's gonna be 6.5 on each side. And I'm gonna extend this wall towards this side and also towards this side. Perfect. Go back to the left elevation. Let me just set this to shaded so that we can see, and then say extrusion again. And then from this point, I'm gonna take this one to the right by let's just make it 1005. Yes, and then to the top by 1005. Then I'm going to say finish edit mode, go to the reference level, and then I'm going to drag it towards this point. So if I open up the 3D view, this is how it looks so far. Then go to the left elevation, and then we're going to draw our concrete cobble. So, and I'm going to take it to the right by 300 millimeters and then down by 220, and then diagonally by at 30 degrees, and then I'm going to take it to the top by 393.2. Say finish edit mode, go to the reference level, and just go. So I'm going to set up my view range to unlimited just to see everything, and I'm going to set this to 5,000 millimeters, apply, and then okay. Now we can see everything. So I'm going to drag it towards this point and also towards this point. Open up the 3D view, and this is what we have so far. So back to the left elevation. So the next thing is we're gonna have to generate our wing walls. So for our wing walls, we're gonna, while we are still on the left elevation, you're gonna say create and say extrusion, and then you're gonna draw it from this insertion point. You're gonna take it to the right by 1,500 millimeters, and then you're gonna take it to the top by another 1,500, and then you're gonna press escape, and then to the top from this point, you're going to take it to the right by 2,580 millimeters, and then you're going to take it down by, let's say, um, 1767. Press enter. No, I think that's a lot. So we can take it down by 1,000 millimeters, and then we can join them diagonally like this, and then we can just join it also from the side. So we're gonna say finish edit mode, but we are not done yet when it comes to our wing wall. So we're gonna drag it towards this side and also drag it towards this side. Select one side, and then we're gonna change its thickness to 300 millimeters. And we're gonna select it again and say rotate, and then we're gonna go to the center of rotation, press place, and then we're gonna place our center of rotation right there, and then we're gonna rotate this wing wall by 15 degrees. So as you can see, when you go to the 3D view, this is basically how it looks. Now you can go to the left elevation and then select your wing wall, and then you can just extend it towards this point, and then go to your 3D view again, and then you can just join it with the main structure like this. So this is basically how it looks, and then you can just join this one like this, and then select your wing wall, go to the reference level, say mirror pick axis, and then it's going to be copied towards the other side, and then you can join these ones like this. So everything is joined. So you can also join your concrete cobble. And I think the last thing we can add is our approach slab, obviously. So for our approach slab, we're going to go to the reference level, and then we can add a section right in the middle like this. And then you can open up that section and then go to create and say extrusion. And then we're going to set our reference to reference plane center, left or right, and say OK. And then our approach slab is going to start by 300, and then we're going to take it down at an angle of, let's just say 170, and then the length of 4.5, and then we can just say pick lines and then offset it by 300 millimeters. So we're going to offset it like this. Then we're going to close it down on each side, so it's going to be closed down like this. So you're going to say finish edit mode, go to the reference level, and then you're going to drag it towards this point. So then gonna drag it towards this point also. Open up the 3D view, and this is basically how it looks. So let me just change the level of detail to find this to realistic, and then I'm gonna join this with our main structure. So I'm gonna select the entire abutment and then go to material, and then I'm gonna apply the material to this. So I'm gonna select concrete, cast in situ, load it in, apply, and say OK. And then I'm gonna say load into project. I'm gonna save this, of course. So I'm gonna save this as our abutment. Say save. So remember, when it comes to our levels, we on the superstructure. So I'm just gonna place our abutment like this. Go to the south elevation, and this is basically how it looks. So before we place our concrete deck, we can actually we're gonna place our concrete deck first, and then we will adjust our abutment. Actually, we can still adjust our abutment. So I'm gonna say align. So I'm just gonna align it like this, and then I'm gonna change the position of the base as well. And then let me just remove this base and say select these two and then mirror them towards the other side. So this is basically how it looks so far. Now I would also like to add our bearings towards this abutment but before we do that, we're gonna add our our precast deck. So for our precast deck, we're gonna go to family again. Let's just go to superstructure floor plan. We're gonna go to family again and say new and say family, and then we're gonna go to metric generic model. I don't want to use the structural framing because it gets much trickier when it comes to placement and adjusting your construction joints. So here we are in the floor plan. You're gonna place one reference plane on each side. So so this one we're gonna say you're just gonna place it like I think it's fine. So it's gonna be offset by 2000 on each side, and then you can just place your dimensions like this, and then select your dimension, apply parameters to this. So you're gonna name this one length, and then you're gonna make it an instance parameter so that you can create drag points on each side, and then you're gonna say OK. And then you're gonna say log it, and then go to the left elevation. So on your left elevation, you're gonna say create and say reference plane, and then you're gonna place the first one horizontally like this, and then you're gonna offset this one by 300 millimeters, and then another one you're gonna copy it by further 200 millimeters, and then you're gonna place another one like this, and then this one from this reference level you're going to offset it by a total of 1672 millimeters, and then you're going to place other ones on each side the reference plane. You're going to place it like this, and then another one you're gonna place it like that. So this one you're gonna offset it by, so it's gonna be 6,500, and also this one by 6,500. So you can just extend these reference planes like this, and then you can just select this one. Actually, you can just say create again and say reference plane. You're gonna place other ones like this. So this one you can offset it by 4,100 millimeters, and this one also by 4,100 millimeters. And then you can select this one, copy, and then you're gonna copy it to the right by 1,106, and then you can just mirror it towards the other side. Now we can start with our geometry. So you're gonna say create and say extrusion, and then from this insertion point you're gonna take it to the right, to the left by 6.5, downwards by 300 millimeters, and then diagonally by you're gonna take it towards this insertion point, and then towards this insertion point, and then you're gonna bring it like this. So it's gonna be set like this. Now we're gonna have to add chamfers when it comes to this. So we can just add chamfers of 25 millimeters. So we can make it 25. Then you're just gonna place it like this, and also this side you can make it 25, and then you can just place it like this. So I think this side also you can make it 25, and then just place it at an angle of, I think it's fine. You don't have to add chamfers down there. So you can just say trim and extend, trim and extend, trim and extend, trim and extend. So I'm gonna select these lines and then copy them towards the other side by using the mirror option, and then I'm just gonna remove this line so that I can work with only one lines at the top and at the bottom. So I'm gonna add material to this and type in precast, and then I'm gonna change this to precast, concrete precast, to load it in and say apply, and then okay. Say finish edit mode, go to the reference level, drag it towards this reference plane, and also drag it towards this reference plane. So the next thing is I'm gonna have to lock them against the extrusion against the reference plane so that I can control its length. So I'm gonna select my extrusion, then the reference plane, and then lock it, and then do the same thing also this side. Open up the 3D view, and this is basically how our precast deck looks. So I'm gonna say load into project, and then I'm gonna say save. So I'm gonna name this one precast deck and say save. So here we are on the superstructure. Let me just go to the superstructure floor plan. Before I can place this, I'm just gonna add my offsets first. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna go to architecture and say reference plane, and then I'm gonna add the reference plane like this. So this one, I'm gonna offset it from the face of the wall of our apartment by, I'm gonna offset it by 20 millimeters for our construction joint. And then I'm gonna, let me just say copy. So I'm just gonna copy it towards maybe this point. So I'm gonna offset this one by 10 on this side, and then I'm gonna mirror it towards the other side. So in total it's gonna be 20. And then I'm gonna select the two of them and then copy them by using the grid as our insertion point, and then I'm just gonna copy those reference planes like this. And then this reference plane, I'm gonna select it from the abutment, and then I'm gonna mirror it towards the other side, and then it's gonna be mirrored towards the other side like this. Now we have our gap for our expansion joints, and then now I can place my my precast deck. So I'm just gonna place it like, I'm gonna start on this point, so I'm gonna place it like this. Go to the south elevation, and then I'm gonna align it by using our bearings, and then I'm gonna align it like this. And then I'm just gonna drag it towards this point, and then drag it towards this point, and say mirror peak axis, and then I'm gonna mirror it towards the other side, and then I'm gonna extend it towards this reference plane, and then mirror it like this. And then I'm gonna select this one at the end, and then I'm gonna mirror it towards this point. Open up the 3D view, and this is basically how it looks. Now the last thing, then this one other thing we have to add when it comes, two other things we have to add when it comes to our abutment is our diaphragm walls and also our bearings. So in order for us to do that, we had to generate our precast deck because we are going to use it as our reference. So open up your abutment, go to edit family, and then while you're in your family, go to the left, the reference level, and then you're gonna say insert, and then you're gonna say load family. So you're gonna just go to where you saved your families. You can just go to, let's just go to VDC space railway. So I'm gonna load in my precast deck, say open, go to create component, and then I'm just gonna place it like this. So let's just go to the left elevation, and then obviously I'm gonna have to adjust its length. So the total height of our bearing is it's 160 millimeters. So I'm gonna have to offset this by 160 millimeters. So it's going to be set like this. I think that's perfect. And then I'm just going to select it, and then offset it by 20 millimeters from the abutment. So this is basically how it's supposed to look. Now we can use this as our reference. You're going to go to the front elevation, set this to fine, set this to shaded. So on your front elevation, you can say create and say extrusion. From this insertion point, you're going to take it upwards, and you're gonna say pick lines, and then you're gonna pick this side of your deck, and then you're gonna pick this line, and then you're gonna say, while you still selected the pick lines, you're gonna set your offset to 300 millimeters, and then offset this vertical line, and then you can just draw your other line like this on top of the base of your abutment. So you're just gonna place it like this, and then you can just say trim and extend, trim and extend, trim and extend, and say finish edit mode. Go to the 3D view, and this is the way it's supposed to look. So you're gonna drag it like this, and then it's gonna be based like that. And the next thing is you're gonna go to the front elevation again, and then you can just go to create and say extrusion again. You're gonna place another one like this, and then you can just place it a random horizontal line like this, and then you're gonna say pick lines, and then you're gonna pick these faces of your precast deck, and then you can just join it on this point, trim and extend, and say trim and extend, and say finish edit mode, and then you're gonna set the thickness of your wall at 300. Go to the 3D view. So you're gonna have to drag it towards this point, and let me just say let me just hide this temporarily. So you're gonna have to adjust the thickness of this diaphragm wall and make it 300 millimeters. So this is the way it's supposed to look. So let me just reset this. So I'm just gonna join everything. Let me just select these two, go to the front elevation, and then copy, mirror them towards the other side. So they're going to be mirrored towards the other side. Go to the 3D view, remove my precast deck, and then I'm going to say join, and then I'm going to select my abutment and then join it with these diaphragm walls so that their materials can be changed. So this is the way it's supposed to look. Now, actually, let me just say, no, I think it's fine. So go to the reference level. Now, the next thing is you're going to go to create and say reference plane, and then you're going to place it right in the middle like this. Now, on your reference plane, I'm just going to place two of them like this. Select this one and say array, or you can type in AR on your keyboard, and then I'm going to array it towards this point, and then I think I can add, let's say, 10 of them. So, and then I can just place my bearings. So I'm gonna load in my bearings, say open, go to create component, and then I'm just gonna place my bearings like this. Actually, I can just change my array. Let's see if I change them to 20, and then I'm gonna say create component, and then I'm gonna place one like this, skip one, place another one like this, and then skip one, and so on. I think it's gonna be set. No, I don't think that works. So let's just start with the middle one. Yeah. So we're gonna place them like this. Yeah. So you're gonna select these three and then copy them towards the other side. So this is the way it will look. I think that's fine. Let's just go to the 3D. Let's just go to the front elevation, set this to wireframe, select all instances, and then place them on the top like this. Go to the 3D view and no, let's just remove these ones. So let's just change our rate to 10 again, and then we can just place our bearings. So we're gonna skip one and then place them like this. Okay, let's just do this. Okay, let's just move our you can just right click and then select all instances and then group them and then remove them. Let's just start over, say reference plane, place it like this, select it and say array, and then you're gonna array towards the middle point and then make it, I think we can just make it 10. Let's see, with 10 I think that's fine, and then select all of them, and then you can deselect this one and then mirror it towards the other side. So let's go to component and then place our bearings, skip one, then place it like that. Yeah, I think this one works. So you're gonna select this one, right click, select all instances, go to the front elevation, and then you're gonna place it on top like this. Go to the 3D view, and this is how it looks. Now I'm gonna check this shared parameter so that it can be separated on the schedules, load it into project and close, and say yes, replace it, and then overwrite the existing version and its parameters. And now your diaphragm walls are applied, and then your bearings are also applied. Now the next thing is we're gonna have to place, let's start with our concrete and end blocks. So for our end blocks, you're gonna go to the superstructure again, and then you're gonna go to file and say new project, actually file, new family, not project, sorry. And then you're gonna go to metric generic model again. And then while you're in the reference level or the floor plan, you're gonna set up your reference planes. So from this point, this one you're gonna offset it by 1680 millimeters, and then you're gonna place another one on this side, and then this one you're gonna offset it by 900 millimeters, and then you're gonna say create, and then go to you're gonna go to so you're gonna go to swept blend, and then say sketch path, and then from this point you're gonna place your sketch line like this at 1680. Profile 1 is there, profile 2 is there, and then you're gonna say finish. Select profile, edit profile, go to the left elevation. Then on your left elevation, you're gonna use this as your insertion point. So you're gonna take it upwards by 450, and then you're gonna say escape, and then from this point you're gonna take it to the left by 300 millimeters, and then you're gonna take it upwards by, let's say, let's just make it 300, and then so from this point you're gonna take it to the left by 180, and then you're gonna join them like this. So this is the way it's supposed to look. And say finish edit mode, go to profile 2, edit profile, and then you're gonna take it upwards by 1000 millimeters, and then press escape, and then from this point you're gonna take it to the left by 300 millimeters, upwards by 300 millimeters, and then so from this point you're gonna take it to the left by 180, and then you're gonna bring it down by, actually you're gonna take it diagonally by, so you're gonna join them diagonally like this. Let's just see. So we're gonna have to join them diagonally. So you can bring it down by 400, and then join them diagonally like this, and then you can say fillet arc, and then you can apply your radius like this. And no, I don't think that works. So you can bring it. Let's just remove this. You can join it diagonally like this and say finish edit mode, go to a 3D view, and this is basically how it looks. So yeah, I think that's fine. I'm just going to keep it as simple as I can, and go to the left elevation. So you're going to say create and say extrusion, and then from this point you're going to take it upwards by 1000, and then you're gonna take it to the left by 180, and then you're gonna pick this lines, and then this one, and then this one, and say finish edit mode, go to the reference level, and then you're gonna drag it towards this point, and it's gonna be 900 millimeters in length. Go to the 3D view, and this is how it's supposed to look. But remember, when it comes to our wing walls, there's a dead angle of 15 degrees. So let's just apply materials to this and show you how would that angle apply. So I'm going to change this to precast. So I'm going to drop down and then change this to concrete precast, load it in, apply, and say okay. And I'm going to load it into our project and then save it, and then I'm going to save this as end blocks, and then I'm going to say save. So I'm gonna go to my superstructure, and then just to change its orientation, you're gonna have to press tab, and then you're gonna place it like this. So let me just change our view range to 6000 millimeters, and also our cut plane to maybe 5000, to say apply, and then okay. And let's just go to the south elevation. So here is our end block, and I'm just gonna adjust it and then move it, place it like this. Go to superstructure, and then I'm just gonna adjust it on this side. So remember that angle, I'm gonna have to apply it right on this point. So let me just use a model line as a reference. So I'm just gonna apply it like this. So basically our end block is gonna be set like this. So let's just go back to our M block and let me show you guys what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna go to I'm gonna have to um, measure the length from this point and this point. So it's 2660.4. Okay, I think that's fine. 2660.4. So I'm gonna go to the reference level and then let's just measure this total. Then I'm gonna change it right there and it's gonna be 2660.4. Press enter. Then I'm gonna increase this. Go to void forms and then void extrusion, and then I'm gonna draw my so I'm gonna draw. This is where I'm gonna draw my extrusion. So I'm gonna set it like this. So I'm gonna place my triangle like this and then select, go to my dimensions, apply an angle right there, and then this one I'm gonna make it 15 degrees and say finish edit mode. Go to the 3D view and then I'm gonna drag this extrusion towards the top, and then it's gonna cut this solid extrusion and say load it in. I'm gonna save it and say replace it. Override the existing version and its parameters, and I think it's the other way around, so I'm gonna say edit family and then go to the reference level again and then select this void extrusion, and then I'm just gonna mirror it like this, remove this one and then select this one and then adjust it like this. So load it into our project, replace it. Then I'm gonna say override existing version and its parameters, and then it's gonna be refined and then it's gonna be set like this. So this is the way it's supposed to look. Perfect. Now let's see our deck. So our deck is fine, and it seems like we have to adjust the wall of our abutment. So I'm gonna select my abutment and say edit family and go to the left elevation. So on our left elevation, let's just go to, so if I measure it from there till there, it's 1607. So if I select it and then say 1672, so it's gonna increase our wing walls, and then I'm gonna have to adjust this wall again. Go to the 3D view and say load into project and say yes. Override existing versions, and now it's going to be adjusted like this. Now it's on par with the top of our precast deck. Perfect. Now I'm going to select, so I'm going to work on one side only, so on this side. So the next thing is we're going to generate our parapets. So for our parapets, we're going to use a generic model again. Let me just see. Yeah, go to new and say family, and then I'm going to say generic metric generic model. So for our parapets, we can use our end blocks as our reference. So I'm gonna say insert and say load family. So I'm gonna load in our end blocks and say create and say component, and then I'm just gonna place my end blocks right in the middle like this. So I'm just gonna go to the left elevation and say create and say extrusion. So I'm gonna place it like this. Actually, let me just adjust this on the left elevation, place it on this side. So I'm gonna say create extrusion, and then from this insertion point, I'm gonna take it to the right by 180, and then like this. So it's gonna be set like that. So I'm gonna say finish edit mode, go to the reference level, remove this end block. So I'm gonna apply two reference planes on each side so that I can create drag points for our length, for the length of our parapets. So I'm gonna apply dimension select it, create parameter, and then I'm gonna say length, and then I'm gonna create it as an instance parameter and say okay, lock it, and then I'm gonna drag my extrusion towards those reference plane, and then I'm gonna lock them against um, I'm gonna lock my extrusion against those reference planes. So this is basically our parapet. So I'm not gonna apply chamfers towards the edges, just to make just want this tutorial to go as fast as it can. So I'm gonna load it into our project and save it, and I'm just gonna name it parapets and say save. And go to the superstructure, and then I'm just gonna place it like that. Go to the south elevation, and let me just change this to shaded, and I'm gonna select my parapet, and then I'm gonna adjust it and place it on top like this. So obviously it seems like okay, our end block, it seems like it's embedded, so I'm gonna have to adjust it. I know they are the same height. So our parapet, let me just go back to edit family and apply material to this. So it's also a precast concrete, and load it into project. I'm gonna save this and say yes. So our parapets also are gonna have okay, override the existing version. Our parapets are also gonna have that 20 millimeter gap. So I'm gonna move this by 20 millimeters to the right. So our parapets are gonna vary when it comes to the length. So this one, I'm gonna adjust it and then make it 3,200 millimeters. And then I'm gonna copy another one towards this point, and then I'm gonna have to move it from this point by 20 millimeters, and then its length I'm gonna make it 3,270 millimeters. I think that doesn't work. Let me just drag it towards this point. Yeah, let's just work with that. So I'm gonna say mirror, and then mirror it towards the other side. So this one, I think we can make it, let's see, 3,980 millimeters, and then let me just move it towards this point. So it's going to be set like that so far. And then go to the south elevation, and then you're going to copy this one towards this point, and then move it by 20 millimeters. And then you're going to copy another one towards this point, and then move it by 20 millimeters. So yeah, I think that's, so you're going to select the three of these, mirror them towards the other side, and then you're going to select the two of these, and then you're going to mirror these ones towards that side. Select the sand block, mirror it towards that side, go to the 3D view, and this is how it looks. Oh, let's check our material takeoff so far. So yeah, this is basically what we have. Our levels are set fine, our materials, our volumes, our areas, the counts, everything is just perfect. This is ready for 4D. The only thing we can do is add classification to this unique class 2015, and then add your marks and all those things, and then you can just take it to Bexel Manager or Navisworks, and then you can manage to do construction planning. Anyway, you can just select these parapets, right click, select on instances visible in view, go to the superstructure floor plan, and then you're going to mirror them towards the other side. Go to the 3D view, and this is what you have. Now, the next thing is for the miscellaneous stuff, we're going to have to add our rail components. So we're going to start with our sleepers, our metal slats, studs and then our railings. So for our our sleepers, you're gonna go. Actually, we're gonna have to add our ballast first. So for our ballast, you're gonna go to the superstructure floor plan, and then you can just measure the distance from there until there, which is 12,400. So each ballast, it's going to be roughly 6,200. So you're going to go to file and say new and say family. So for our ballast, still we're going to use the metric generic model, say open, and then you're going to go to the left elevation, and then you're going to say reference plane, and then you're going to place one reference plane on each side. So you're going to offset this one by 6,200 millimeters. Let's just see, it's I think it's 12,004. Okay, and this one also you're going to offset it by 6,200 millimeters, and then you're gonna say create and say reference plane again. You're gonna place another one on top like this. So this one you're gonna offset it by, I think we can make it 100. Our ballast we can make it, let's see, I think we can make it 250 millimeters. I think that's fine. So for our ballast, we can say create and say extrusion. So we're gonna place a horizontal line at 2,400 millimeters, and then diagonal line at 45. I think at 45. Actually, we can go with, yeah, at 45 degrees like this, and also on this side you can place it at 135, and then you can adjust this like this. Go to material, apply the material to this. So when you type in ballast, it's gonna give you gravel, so we can just apply gravel to that and say okay and say finish edit mode. Go to the reference level, and then just expand this extrusion. Place another 2 reference plane on each side on your floor plan, and then you can just say adjust. You can adjust it and make it maybe 5,000 on each side. Apply dimensions to this, select your dimension, and then apply create parameter when it comes to this. So you're gonna type in length, and then make it an instance parameter and say okay, and then you're gonna lock it, and then drag your extrusion towards this, lock it, drag your extrusion towards this reference plane, and then lock it. And now you can check in your shared parameter. No, I don't think that's important. So this is basically your ballast. So you can load it in. I'm gonna save this as ballast, save, and then it's gonna be loaded into your project. So go to superstructure, and then you're just gonna place your ballast like this. Go to the south elevation, and then you can select your ballast, and then you can just place it right on top like this. Go to the 3D view, go to your superstructure, change this to shaded, and then you can just adjust it like this. So when I change this to realistic, this is basically how it looks. But obviously, your ballast is gonna be different when it comes to the middle. So you can just go to edit family again, and then go to the left elevation again, and then right in the middle you can select and say edit extrusion, and then you can select this line and then place another diagonal line on this point and also on this part, and then you can say SL for slice, and then you can slice it on these 2 points, and then remove this point, and then slice this bottom line, and then you can just remove this part so that it doesn't clash. Remove this line, And then you can say finish, and then while it's still selected, you can mirror this one towards the other side and say load into project and say save, and then override the existing version. And this is how it looks. So we're gonna have to adjust the drag points for the second extrusion. Reference plane, lock it, then lock it, load into project, override the existing version, and this is basically how it looks. Now the next thing is we're gonna have to generate our sleepers, our metal studs, and our rails. So for your sleepers, go back to the superstructure floor plan. You're gonna go to file and say new, and then family, and then we're gonna use a generic model to generate our sleepers. So it's gonna be precast, and the first thing is we're just gonna select these reference planes and then place them horizontally like this on each side. So both sides we're gonna offset it by, so it's gonna be equals to 5627.8 divided by 2, and then let me just remove this one and then just mirror this one towards the other side. And then the other one is gonna be, let's just place another one like this, and then this one we're gonna offset it by equals to, actually let's make this one 5700 divided by 2, so it's 2850, and then this one is also going to be 2850. And then let's just remove this one. So we're going to go to the left elevation. So on the left elevation, we're going to go to create and say extrusion, and then from this insertion point we're going to take it to the left by 2850, and then diagonally at 45 degrees. Before we do that, let's just say pick lines and then offset it by 150. So we're going to offset it like this, and then we're going to say at 45 degrees place it like that, and then we're going to say trim and extend, select these 3 lines and then mirror them towards the other side, and this is basically going to be our sleepers. So we're going to apply the material to this and type in precast. So we're going to apply precast to this and say concrete precast, load it in, apply, and then OK, and then say finish edit mode, go to reference level. So in terms of the thickness, I think we can make it, let's just measure it right there. I think we can make it 200, we can make it 400 millimeters in length. So if I go to the 3D view, this is how it looks. But I think 400 is a lot. Let's just reduce it and make it 300 instead. So both sides are going to be 150, and also this side is going to be 150. Perfect. So this is how it looks. If I change the level of detail to fine and the graphics to realistic, this is basically our sleepers. Remember to check in the shared parameter option, so that because we're gonna nest it into a line-based family, and before we do a line-based family, we're gonna generate our metal studs that's gonna be sitting on top of our sleepers. So let me just remove these extra views for our sleepers and then go to file again and say new and say family. So we're gonna go to generic model again. So right on the reference level, we're gonna go to reference plane and then place one on this side, and then this one we're gonna offset it by, so it's going to be equals to 2689.4 divided by 2, which is 1344.7, and then we're going to mirror it towards the other side, and then you're going to go to the left elevation. So we're going to start modeling our metal studs, go to extrusion. From this insertion point, you're going to take it to the left by, so it's going to be 297 divided by 2. press enter, and then you're going to take it upwards by 20 millimeters, and then take it to the left. So you're going to take it to the left by, I think, 30, and then you're going to take it to the top by, so it's going to be 10 millimeters. Let's make it 10. Let's remove this, and then you're going to take it to the right by another 30 millimeters, and then you're going to take it to the top by 20 millimeters, and then you're going to take it to the left by 35 millimeters, and then down by 30 millimeters, and then you're going to place it like this. So basically, let's just copy this towards the other side. We're gonna have to measure the distance from there to there. It actually has to be 127 because the bottom width of our rails, or steel rails, is going to be 127. So let me just reduce the scale of this. So I'm gonna measure from this point and then this point. So this one, we're gonna make it equals to 127 divided by 2, and then this one also is going to be 127 divided by 2 equals to 127. Yes, so it's going to be set like that, and then we're going to apply the material to this. So this, we're going to make it, we're going to just type in steel and then drop down, and then we're going to make it, I think we can make it, so I think this one we can, let's just make it steel for actually no, I want 355. I think we can make it still 5355. Apply and then OK, and say finish edit mode, go to the reference level, and of course I have to adjust the length of this. So I'm gonna apply dimensions on each side. So each side, I think I'm gonna make it, let's try 150, same as the slippers. I think you can make it same as the slippers, so it's gonna be 300 millimeters. So I'm gonna select this and then mirror it towards the other side, and then check this shared parameter option, go to the 3D view, and this is basically what we have. Now I'm gonna close down these views. I'm only going to be left with the 3D view, and then I'm going to go to file again and say new, and then family, and then I'm going to open up a line based family. So I'm going to go to metric generic model line based and say open. Now we have our line based family. So the first thing is we're gonna have to load in our the families that we generated. So I'm gonna go to the first one, which is the sleeper, and then I'm gonna say load into family. So I'm gonna load it into family 11, the last family we just opened, and then I'm gonna save this as our precast sleepers and say save, and then it's gonna be loaded into our family. So I'm just gonna place it like this, and let me just check the offset from this reference level, and then from this point let me just make it 100, and then I'm gonna go to my metal studs, and then I'm gonna say load it into project, and then I'm gonna load it into that line based family, and then before that I'm gonna save this. So I'm gonna say metal studs, and then I'm gonna say save. So from there, I'm gonna have to place it right on top of our sleeper, and then go to the left elevation just to adjust everything. So I'm just gonna adjust it and then place it on top of our sleeper. So if I open up the 3D view, this is basically what we should have. So now we're going to have to go to the reference level, and then this is the tricky part where we apply our line based intelligent parameters. So the first thing is we're going to have to select both of these families, and then I'm going to select array, or you can type in AR on your keyboard, and then I'm going to array it until this reference plane, and then I'm just going to change the number to 3 and press enter. I'm just going to press 3 here and then enter, and then it just divided everything. So I'm going to align this last family against this reference plane, and then I'm going to select this array annotation, and then under labels I'm going to drop down and say add parameter, and then I'm going to make it an instance parameter, and then I'm going to name this one sleepers, and then I'm going to say okay. So this is what we have. Now the next thing is I'm going to apply dimensions between this reference plane and the first sleeper, and then this one I'm going to select it and then go to create new parameter, and then this parameter, I'm going to name it spacing. So I'm going to also make it an instance parameter and press OK, and then I'm just gonna lock it. Perfect. Now in order for us to control in order for us to multiply these sleepers and metal stud, when we drag this line base family, we're gonna have to apply a formula. So you're gonna go to family types, and then on your family types you're just gonna reduce this. So on your family types, we have two parameters that you generated, which are the spacing and also the sleepers. So on the sleepers, you're gonna go under formula, and then you have equal sign. You're just gonna type in round up, and then you're gonna say open bracket, and then type in length. You're gonna type in length, and then over spacing, and then you're gonna close the bracket and then +1, and then apply, and then okay. And this is it's gonna generate this mess, but it's gonna make sense when we load it into our project. So I'm gonna say shared parameter and say load into project. I'm gonna save this as sleepers. Let me say rail sleepers, and then dash line based family, and then I'm going to say save. So once it's going to be loaded into our project, you're going to go to the superstructure floor plan, and then you're going to place it from this point, and then you're going to drag it towards the other side. So just place it like this. As you can see, it created that mess. So you're gonna drag it until this endpoint towards this apartment, and then you're gonna adjust everything afterwards. So you're gonna place it like that. So as you can see, in order for you to remedy this mess, you're gonna go to spacing, and then you can just type in different sets of numbers so that you can increase the spacing between the sleepers. So if I type in 400, as you can see, the spacing between it actually increases. So I'm gonna make it 500. So as you can see, this is what we have. So if I go to the east elevation, and this is basically our sleepers. If I go to the 3D view, and this is basically what we have. So let me just open up the family again, and then go to the reference level. So I think everything is fine. Let me just close it down. So I'm gonna select this family, go to the superstructure floor plan, and then say pick lines, and then I'm gonna mirror it towards the other side, and then go to the 3D view, and this is basically what we have. So if I open up my schedule and then drop down, as you can see, this is our precast sleepers, and then as you can see, this is the materials that we managed to produce. It managed to separate our metal studs also, and everything is right there. So it's ready for quantification and 5D cost estimation. So yeah, this is basically what we have for our rail bridge. So the last thing we have to produce is our rails, of course. So in order for us to do that, you're gonna go to the superstructure floor plan again, go to file and say new, and say family, and then you're gonna choose metric structural framing, beams and braces this time, and actually no, let's just go with the metric generic model and say okay. And then before we generate our extrusion, let's just go with let's just apply an only class number to this maybe. uh, Actually, just to save time, I'm not gonna do that. Let's just generate our geometry. So you're gonna go to the left elevation. So on our left elevation, you're gonna say reference plane, place it like this horizontally, and then this one you're gonna offset it by 21 millimeters, and then you're gonna select it and then copy another one by 75 millimeters, and then another one by 40 millimeters. Perfect. And then you're gonna say create and say place other reference planes vertically like this, and then this one you're gonna say equals to 64 millimeters divided by 2, and then you're gonna mirror it towards the other side. And then other ones you're gonna say create and say reference plane again at the bottom like this, and then you're gonna say reference planes, and then these ones you're gonna offset them from the middle by, so it's gonna be 127 divided by 2, which is 63.5, and also this one is gonna be 63.5, and press enter. And then you're gonna say create and say extrusion, and then from this point you're gonna bring it towards this point, and let's just see what we have here. And then you can just you're gonna, so from this, and then you're gonna go up, and then from this point you're just gonna draw another uh, rectangle like this. So you can just draw your rectangle like this, and then from this point you're gonna offset it by 20 millimeters from the left reference plane, and then you're gonna place it 75 millimeters like this, and then you're gonna also copy it towards the other side, and then let's just take this one upwards by 5 millimeters, and then join it like this, and then you're gonna select it and then mirror it towards the other side. So this is basically what we have so far. So you're gonna slice it and then remove this line. So we're gonna apply our radiuses. So you're gonna go to fillet arc and then say radius. So the first one, your radius, you're gonna set it to 11, and then you're going to select these two, and then other ones you're going to say 3, and then you're going to select these two, and then other ones you're going to say 10, and then you're going to select these two, and then you're going to say 10 again, and then select these two, and then you're going to say 3 again, and then you're going to select these two, and this is basically your railing. So you're gonna apply material to this. I'm just gonna type in iron, so I'm gonna say cast iron and say apply, and then okay, and say finish edit mode. Go to the 3D view, and this is basically our steel railing. Let me just change it to realistic, and this is basically what we have. So you're gonna go to the reference level, and obviously I'm gonna say I'm gonna apply 2 reference planes on each side, and then I'm just gonna offset it by 1.5 on each side, and then I'm gonna drag it towards those reference planes, and then lock the extrusion against those reference planes, and then I'm gonna apply dimensions using those reference plane, and then select that dimension, apply an instance parameter towards it, and then type in length and say okay, and then I'm gonna load it into our project. So I'm gonna name this one rail. I'm just gonna name it steel rail and say save. So after saving it, I'm going to go to the superstructure, and then I'm just going to place it right on top of our metal studs, and then go to the east elevation, set this to wireframe, and let's just see. Okay, if I go to the west elevation, set this to wireframe. Let's just see where is our, okay. Where the hell is our rail? So on the 3D view, there it is. So I'm just gonna offset it by 1000, or maybe let's just make it 4000 millimeters so that we can see it. Change this to realistic, go to the east elevation, and this is where our steel rail is. So I'm just gonna adjust it and then place it right on top of our metal studs, and then go to the superstructure, and then I'm gonna drag it towards the other side, and then it's going to be placed like this, and then I'm just going to mirror it towards the other side, and then control select the two of them, and then pick this center line so that they may be copied to the other side. And this is basically how it looks. Now the last thing is just for visualization, I'm going to insert the train model, go to load family, and then I'm just going to go to downloads, and I'm gonna select my train, open. So it's gonna take a while, and say component, and then press tab just to change its orientation, and then I'm gonna place it like this. Go to the east elevation, select my train, and then I'm just gonna move it, adjust it, and move it upwards, and then it's going to be basically set like this. As you can see, it clashes with our rail, but that's fine. So go to the 3D view, and this is basically how it looks. So thank you guys for watching. We generated our schedule, so don't worry about this is actually the train that we loaded. And yeah, so this is what we have the abutments, the ballast, the elastomeric bearing, the end blocks, the metal studs, the parapets, piers, precast decks, the precast sleepers, and the steel rail, the abutment base, the pier bases. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I tried to make it as quick as I could. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and please like, subscribe, and share, and I will catch you on the next tutorial. Have a good day. Have a good evening. Peace.